Thank you for joining this session this afternoon on how can digital tech competence help in employment and foster entrepreneurship. My name is KC and I'm with Invest Hong Kong. I'd like to start this afternoon with a short story. This story takes us back to the UK in the post-war years after the Second World War. After the Second World War, a socialist government came into power in the UK. This socialist government introduced many socially minded policies, including free health for everyone, free education for everyone, and even free milk for children. In health, in those days, what people believed was babies, when they're born, they're weighed. And because mortality was high in infants in those days, a weighing of the baby was believed to be a good indicator of the survival of that baby. And so before the war years, this was the practice. After the war, and with the improved resources at the National Health Service, they started taking more measurements, including the length of the baby, but also, among other things, the weight of the placenta. Now, as some of you will know, the placenta is the interface between the baby, the embryo, and the mother. And its surface is very large, and it's responsible for the exchange of nutrients to the baby, to the fetus, and the exchange of waste to the mother. Now, that generation of babies, which was born back then, is now coming to the late stages of their lives. Some of them are 70 years old or thereabouts. And someone did some analysis of that, discovered the existence of this data, and did some analysis on the data collected. And they discovered that the diseases that this cohort of post-war babies, which are now in their senior years, they're displaying things like heart disease, diabetes, and other diseases. And they found that actually there was a high correlation, not with the size of the baby. In other words, what was previously believed to be a good predictor as the weight of the baby for survival and therefore good health of that baby growing up, but rather the weight of the placenta relative to the size of the baby. In other words, even if it was a relatively smallish or medium-sized baby, if the placenta was large in relation to the baby, it indicated that, or was postulated that, the exchange was happening effectively, and therefore the baby got all the nutrients that it needed, and there was no bottleneck in the exchange of nutrients and waste. And they found that actually these babies are now healthier, as elderlies are healthier than those that were perhaps large in absolute size, but had a relatively small placenta. So all this to say, I mean, data is so interesting, and discovering data is so important, and the quality of data that's put into a database is so key to your ability to mine and get insight out of it. So I would argue that on the one hand, having good data skills and having high data literacy is really key to getting understanding what we have our hands on and seeing what is available there, and then turning that into something which is insightful and useful. And so with that, I'll leave it there. We'll be discussing some more about how data is used and so on. But there is a lot of food for thought. Those of you who are thinking of doing a STEM-related degree, I would definitely encourage it. The skills that you gain from that go far beyond what the discipline that you're studying covers, and your ability to get a feel for what a number represents, trends, people talk about direction of flight and so on. These things are all relevant to future decision making. So thank you.